Hi guys, it's Bob from Greybeard Models. Welcome back to the channel. And it's about time we had a catch up on the carpet layer. So without hanging around too much and too much waffle, let's get over to the bench and we'll have a look, see what the progress is we've made. And it's pretty good. Okay, so it's joining these halves of the spool, bobbin, whatever you want to call it, with these pieces of cardboard, and I hope that's all coming out. Trying not to get too much glare on the pictures. So putting that to one side, I've made up the cardboard bits, and it doesn't seem like this is an awkward way of doing it, but it is the way it is. It is what it is, as they say. So I've got it slid on so that one bit's on that side, one bit's on that side, and then I've got to make the join in the middle. And according to so according to that, these join together there. To make the bobbin. It's a bit strange. I mean, I'll do it, but it just seems a bit strange, to be honest. So I think the thing to do is get everything lined up, get everything pegged into place, so that it can glue together, and then set it. Yeah, weird, eh? Right, so I've got the two bits together, and I've clamped them with these two reversed wooden pegs, and as far as I can tell, I've got them all lined up. It's all lined up as far as I can tell on the edges of the bobbin, and just to make sure that I have, what I've done is got a square there and got them sort of lined up like that. And they seem to be, you know, they seem to be lined up. Yeah, right, set those aside to dry, and then we'll go ahead and assemble the rest of it. Right, okay, so the next bit, what I've done here is worked out how long the piece of tape that comes in the kit is, and then divide it by 12mm roughly, and that gives me 41.6. So what I'll do is I cut 42 strips. Yeah, and it says here just then space them out 20mm, and then cover with another paper tape on the strips. See how that goes. Yeah, so that's what I've decided to do. So as you know, I'd cut the plastic parts, bring this in, good Blue Peter style, eh? So what I've done, got the sticky tape taped in position on this cutting mat, and the reason I've used this cutting mat is because it's got nice clear squares on it. Just gives me a rough idea and make sure everything stays relatively. Stuck that down with a bit of Tamiya masking tape there just to hold it in place, and then peeled it back. So the next the problem that I had was working out how to get that equally spaced when it's 12mm. So what I did was actually measured it. It's getting taking too long. So I've got this little knack of doing it a different way. So you take a steel rule, marking pen, or a writing implement of your choice, and mark that up 12mm down this end, 12mm. Hold that in place there, pull the backing paper away, and you've pretty much got, if I've done it right, that should be about 12mm. Just needs, I thought so, just needed a little bit more on this end to hold it in place. I know it looks a bit awkward, but that's just me. So there you've got, it's about 12mm. So one of my painted rod doodads, and decide to hold that in place about there, which was about right. Put it in place. There you go, and that's in place. And carry on like that. And what you end up doing, you having a whole strip of those. That didn't look as easy as it could have done, because as soon as you try and do something on camera, it's a little bit cack-handed. But hey ho, and on you know. So back to the ruler. It's not a ruler. I was always told that, I don't know about any of you chaps, but I was always told when I was at school that these implements were rules, not rulers. And so this is a 6-inch steel rule. Not a ruler, a rule. So hold that in place, pull that over, done. Put that in place on your sticky tape. Where am I wearing the gloves so it don't stick to the sticky tape? You know, and then once you've done a few of those, what I tend to do then is get a pair of scissors and then just cut a bit of that paper out of the way, and then carry on. Right, so I'll do that. Then once I get to the end, we then got the fun bit. They're trying to put this piece of tape onto that piece of tape without it all getting awkward. Anyway, okay, so the next bit is to get the intakes in place, which I've done there. The hardest bit, and it is really tricky, is getting the tie straps or tie ropes to line up and everything, and do the final adjustments in here. It's tricky, but I sort of got it done. So now from this point, they're all in place. So I've got to get the rear intake in place and the exhaust pipes, and then pretty much then add the jig, or whatever you call it, the framework that holds the carpet roll. And we'll have another quick look at the carpet roll, because I've done some more work on that. So the carpet roll's now all fitted together, and yeah, I mean, wanted to hide the sort of masking tape colour of the carpet, so we've given it some different washes and did some experiments really just to see what sort of colours looked I don't know what's the word, authentic. Very few pictures exist that I could find. Well, in fact, I couldn't find any of the actual carpet itself. It's a Hessian material, so looking at sort of Hessian sacks and stuff like that, got a sort of general sort of wash colour on there just to give it a little bit more depth, texture, or whatever. So now the next stage, as I say, is to get the rest of those bits together, and we're heading towards the end. So was there an element of glee? It's not been an easy build, but it's been good. It's been challenging. So anyway, moving swiftly on. Right, so the carpet layers had a coat of gloss, and so the next stage is to put the decals on, get the weathering done, and then moving swiftly on, we can get on to putting the actual carpet layer roller bobbin thing together. I tried to do like a dry fit and stuff, and that works. It all lines up and everything, so that's fine. But obviously, to get in and do the proper weathering on this, I need to get that out of the way. So that'll be done separately to get this done, and then put the bobbin on and do all of that. So that's progress on that. So we'll keep going. Right, okay. So we've got the decals on. Oh, excuse me. Got gloss coat. Got the decals on. So the next thing is to start on the weathering, and I thought I'd grab a few bits and pieces and show you just quickly what I'm gonna use. So first things first, I've got a dark brown wash for green vehicles by Ammo Mig. I quite like this. It's quite a good wash. So what I'll do is I'll put this on, and this will go into all the sort of nooks and crannies, all of that sort of thing. Give that a good shake. I'll use that, and then I've got where are we? Right, I've got two pigment type stuff. First and foremost, we've got the European Earth pigments by AK, that sort of colour. I've also got, where am I? Oh, here we are. The Nature Effects Damp Earth. So I want to sort of have, I want a fairly dirty version of this one, I think. I'm going to use the Vallejo Splash Mud, European Splash Mud. Again, this combination of colours will give me sort of a right dirty colour. So lots of dirt and grime around the wheels and up the front of it and all the rest of it. Obviously going to use pigment fixer as well with the pigments, and then I'll probably use a bit of track wash as well. I've used this on a lot of things. I've actually used it on these tracks, so I might use that as well. So there's a whole combination of those bits and pieces that I'll use, and I'll get off and do that and come back to you in a moment.